All right, folks, welcome back. Mic check 1 2 1 2. We get into game number 1 of a brand new best of 5 here in the TING Open. This is the winner's match. One of these two is going to get through safe and sound out of the group. The other one will fall to fight against Gumiho. And I'm actually really interested in both of these because there's the rematch, which we know how that works. Hashtag cursed, right? Then there's possibly just Rogue versus Gumiho, which could be an amazing series. I'm pretty excited for either. But we got an this is like the toppest. I'm super stoked. We are such spoiled brats to be able to cast this. In the bottom left side on Dusk Towers, we've got the blue Terran Jennair's Cure.
In the top right, as the yellow Zerg, it's Jennair's Rogue.
Very excited to be casting both of these players, and more excited that they're playing in our tournament in general. Of course, this is the TING Open. Big shout outs to TING for sponsoring this $5,000 tournament. Go to btv.ting.com if you want to support/learn more about TING. And of course, we got Jesse still lurking around in chat. So if you guys have any big questions, make sure to ask him because he'll be the one to answer. The last thing to really shout out before we get too far into this series is the fact that we have a smartphone giveaway available to residents of the United States. Now, of course, even if you're not in the United States, you can still participate in this fun sort of giveaway method because it'll get your question into a possibly get your question into an AMA video, which will be produced a little bit later and shown before the tournament's over. So make sure to just tweet at Ting for the win, guys, and make sure to hashtag your question with Ting Open, and you can ask them any question at all. You can ask them what time it is. You can ask them what their favorite food is. You can ask them how their cellular service works. I don't care. It doesn't matter. As long as you keep it PG-13, you will be entered into the cell phone giveaway. If you want more details on that, just type !phone in chat. It'll link you to, we put a post on Facebook with the full contest details.
Pretty cool deal. Jesse, of course, educating all these nerds and naysayers in chat. Way to go, man.
You keep it. Fight that fight. Fight the
CGB fight.
All right, so what I really find just so exciting about this, other than the fact that it's a couple of named players, like, let's be honest, Rogue, big deal, cool. In fact, I think it's like #1 on the ladder right now for Korea. Cure, however, I just, you and I have this special affinity for Cure because this is like 100% hipster statement, and I don't care. We liked Cure before anyone else did, all right? Like, we had the pleasure of discovering him first in an IEM qualifier. He played against Curious. The game that made us fall in love with him was this King Sejong match. Like, that was Curious, the other way around. But either way, Cure is still just, he's so good. Some big girl. Yeah. I love watching him play.
We do have a pretty quick overload speed. We'll see what that happens with that. But I do want to add on that I think it was Red Bull DC... the first time, so back when it was like eight players invited, and Cure was there, and I really wanted to go up and talk to him, at least ask him for his autograph, but oh my god, I felt so bad. I couldn't tell the difference between Cure and Deer, so I just played it safe and didn't go up to either one of them at all.
Actually, that's like at the summit. I met Rogue, and I didn't realize it was Rogue. I thought it was someone else, and I was talking to Solar, and Solar's like, "No, that's Rogue, you idiot," and I was like, "Oh."
Right? I did not want to be that embarrassed, so I thought I saw him after the after party, and I was like, oh, look at this one's like Cure, crap. So I never got to say hi to Cure, and it's really hard now to catch Koreans outside of Korea. Yeah,
this year's going to be difficult, and that's why I'm really glad Ting was open to doing open tournaments, get all the regions involved, and especially Korea. Now, the medevac boosting on the side... It's got Hellions inside of it, which is kind of cool. I think a lot of the times you expect a Widow Mine, maybe a couple of Marines. But if you can get these Hellions out, they would do a ton of damage. However, not going to be able to go to the natural base, scans to see what was there. So just going to kind of just run around the side. And again, these Hellions, if they get away with damage, they get away with a lot of damage is the thing.
Yeah. This does seem to be a pretty good use of Hellions, but Rogue was on top of things, so... Not so good for Cure quite yet, but it is a medevac. That's always going to be scary to deal with until you actually get to kill it. And oh my god.
Maneuverability, really nice. Almost lines them up. Still 6 kills for this, and still hasn't lost a Hellion. Good, great control out of Cure so far.
Yeah, that's that almost was devastating, but is now just is, you know, sucky for Rogue, but definitely something he doesn't have to tap out for.
It's getting a little bit low on the medevac, though. I don't think there's a lot more he can get done. Going home and repairing this and having what is possible Hellbats just to soak hits later might not be a bad option. As yeah, the damage wasn't too bad. Killed a good chunk of Lings, got 6 drones on top of it, and at some point killed an Overlord. So double nice.
Yeah, nice start for Cure. Obviously they are teammates, so I do wonder how much they've practiced into each other.
He's not going home. He's saying, screw it, I want to get one more drop off here at the main.
Psych!
This is really so dangerous, though.
It's yeah, if the Hellions die, that's whatever. They're not really going to help with the main push anyways. But if the medevac dies, that's much more useful.
Yeah. Viking just kind of flying around looking for a couple of kills if we can snake any out. But looking to meet up with the injured medevac. We have a double drop of Marines coming out. That medevac here is going to be such a big deal to add on to these Marines. Like having 3 medevacs versus 2 is pretty influential, especially if Stim is done, which it is. So pushing on forward, gonna get a lot of creep, gonna possibly catch these queens. He's trying desperately to get on top of these so they won't be fighting with the support of any other units. This catches Rogue so badly off guard. Look at that supply count really quick, Zombie coming into this fight. All the Hellions are still alive. I just want to throw it out there. This one's had 1 health for so long. Here comes the Banelings. They've got some speed, picks up, loses a Hellion. Oh, that's sad. That's so sad.
Yeah. Okay, that was scary for both parties. Oh, it's good the drone's coming back in here, but with the Banelings, so he just picks up. He can just go and clean up creep now, though. Like, he still has a lot of units in these medevacs.
Yeah, I don't know about dumping this like this, trying to take cover from the mineral lines. It got some more kills, which was nice, but this didn't snowball, and respect and credit goes to Cure for an excellent defense. Like, first off, Baneling speed being done this early, not something somebody expects. Secondly, handling those Banelings as well as you did, well done.
Yeah, that was... then almost looked like game over, and then the other way, and now everything's calmed down. Now, Rogue is still not in a great position, so I think it is game over, just like not right then, right there. He has a Spire, but he can't make that many mutas, or any at all. He has upgrades, but that's not really going to help. Cure has upgrades too, and he's just on a terrible arming supply. Just, those Hellion drops, they didn't really devastate the drone line, but they certainly messed up Rogue's macro. Oh, well, this is nice.
Yeah, this run by is actually something he really needed. We'll see how many SCVs really die. Gets on top of the production is the big deal. Meanwhile, on this side of the map, there's more Banelings coming up, but there's Hellbats made now. There's a couple of Widowmines out. Widowmines unfortunately wasted on an Overlord there. But the second Widowmine's good, but not enough Marines to keep up the pressure.
18 workers were killed, and still the third base not mining for Cure. That's a lot of damage, but is it enough to make up for the army supply difference?
Yeah, I don't know. Those Widowmines have some pretty good hits, and he traded out pretty decently, but with the worker counts for Rogue being untouched through this attack, that makes it questionable whether that was worth it or not.
Just tap it and kill it overboard. Alright, so he takes control of his mining at the third base again, and despite losing 21 SCVs, still at 55 is not bad at all. Missed his +2 weapons. I think everything started going as soon as he was about to press the button, so we'll have armor, oddly enough. Nice big army. A lot of Marauders coming in here. They're going to be able to soak up whatever Banelings can throw at them, but they're not going to be too useful against the Lings.
Ah, these guys managed to finish up. There's not a wall off.
Rolling.
Oh no. Oh no, SCV's going to split. Okay, so at least he saw this coming, because this could have been so much worse. This still gets some pretty good kills, though. 10. Yeah, ooh. Oh.
Nice. Here come the mutas, but I don't know how helpful they're going to be. It's not the biggest ground army. A lot of this supply for Cures and medevacs and a kind of useless Viking right now. He's starting to clear up creep. He sees, a lot of Banelings rolling so glowy. Oh! A lot less Banelings now.
That was a nice Widowmine hit. Got 13 kills on this bad boy now. Rogue, though, down in supply by half, is still... You're going to have to get the best Baneling hits of all time. Like, that splash damage has to be monumental, and that's going to be so difficult to pull off. New Widowmine comes in. Liberator's going to get some splash damage on these Mutalisks. If enough Marines live through this, though... Oh, God, that Widowmine pops off and adds more splash damage. GG, Cure, snowballs in an instant. Wow.
Oh, dear God.
All right, game 1 goes to Cure in the series. What's the next map so I can get the map intro loaded up?
Prion.
Okay, so it's going to be the gold-based intro. The silly intro. Let's get this up. I can also raise my desk. I need the standing hype for this last series. So, for those who haven't seen it, I have a raising desk. Goodbye, everybody. We'll see you up there in the... Oh.
Bye. Bye forever.
Yeah, except, well, it's not goodbye forever. Alright, let's get into this.
Okay.
I got my cat just chilling behind me. How you doing, girl? She always gets so like. I thought she'd be scared of the desk because it makes noise, and she's just always like, "Oh, what is that?" I'm like, really, really intrigued. I want to jump on it, and I'm like, "No, don't you dare!"
Yeah, my cat wants to jump on my desk all the time when it's raised. I don't know.
I'll see you guys here in a sec. See you guys here in a sec. See you guys here in a sec. All right, folks, welcome back to the Ting Open. Game number 2 here in the winners match. Spawning in the top left side of the map, playing for Jin Air. It is the blue Terran player Cure.
In the bottom right, as the yellow Zerg, he's Rogue.
All right, so Rogue. I mean, the Hellions. It looked like got cleaned up initially, right? And I didn't think Rogue did a bad job defending that. But again, with Hellions, if they can get in for just a little bit of damage, they usually get in for a lot of damage.
Yeah, I didn't think they did that much damage either, but they obviously messed up Rogue's game plan. Because he was just always down in that game. Always down in supply, always in a bad position. And all just actually came to a point at the end. So it's Crown Terraces, and Rogue will be able to get not 1 gold base, but probably 2. You just gotta have to take a little bit of risk going to the top right for him. Kira could have easily done something with his own natural, like, you know, not proxy, but rather walled off with 2 barracks, did like a Reaper thing, or even just, you know, regular old double Reaper opener in your main base, but it just goes for the standard 1 racks expand. I brought it up briefly last game, but they are teammates after all, and they gotta practice a lot with each other because they're actually on one of those teams that like is confirmed they practice in a team house, and they have, you know, schedules, and they gotta help each other practice for Pro League matches and blah, blah,
actually,
blah. So,
speaking on that point, apparently it's been really frustrating trying to get practice done across the board right now. Not just because of like the Korean mentality of team houses and Pro League, but with the IEM brackets having not been released for so long. I know I was talking to Harston, for example, and he was saying nobody was willing to practice with anybody because they didn't want to end up fighting each other like on the IEM brackets. And I guess like it's kind of scary because at no point, like in Korea, it's always been a little bit stark, right? You're fighting nameless barcodes anyways, and most people are team house in practicing. But it's like the first time in a long time, all 3 servers. I was told at least it's kind of hard to find games because nobody wanted to play anything.
yeah. So I just thought about this. Someone, you know, asks, why not invite some SKT1 and KT players next time? Well, first of all, invites, please. I invited 4 people, 8 people. But also, it was only Jin Air players that tried qualifying for this, wasn't it? Of the top 3 Kespa Pro teams, which would be SKT1, KT, and Jin Air, SOS is on Jin Air too, and he was the other one that tried.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone from SKT or KT.
Well, Maru had signed up, but then bailed.
Jin Air?
Yeah. I'm just thinking, like, I can't think of anyone else big name in the tournament.
So it's almost like, you know, MVP, or sorry, I'm gonna go with Samsung. Samsung has had no problems ever participating in our tournament, so that's always been cool of them, right? So that's why we get to know Solar and whatnot.
Also ditched too.
Yeah, okay, that sucks, but this is, but then you up the ante, you up the prize pool from a weekly to this huge tournament, and suddenly Jin Air is the one that's okay. It's SKT1 and KT that are being real, hoity-toity about it.
Yeah, again, there's a lot of Korean politics we could go into that we've learned a lot about over the past year working with a lot of Koreans with the Olima League, but I don't know, as far as, like, inviting people, I'm so on the fence about this because I love the idea of the qualifiers because it shows you who really wants to play, like who really wants to get in. Whereas I feel there's a lot of times we've had experience inviting players, and they really just flop out. And I'm like, look, it wasn't worth having blank person's name in the tournament for hype because the games were so whatever.
I do remember a couple of times that happening, just being really disappointed at the hype name.
I'm trying so hard not to name people here.
Yeah, seemingly not taking it seriously, almost, despite it being a really nice prize pool. But
yeah, because there is this degree, and it's unfortunate, but there's a stigma where it's like, oh, it's an online tournament. Who really cares? It's not that big of a deal. If it's not offline, if it's not a stage, it's not that important. I don't know. Because, I mean, this isn't our first time. Like, this is our, I think, third $5,000 tournament. And we've run multiple ones that were like $2,000 or around that region before. So we've definitely seen the downside to invites.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be opposed to like to do a once-off tournament if we could get those guys involved. I wouldn't say no, but the amount of money that would cost versus the time investment versus them being available, because Pro League and SSL and all these other things, the likelihood of that happening anytime soon is very low. I'm just gonna say that outright. Yeah,
there's a Korean league on every single weekday, so it's very hard to actually get them not to want to prepare for those as opposed to this, which is extra reason why Cure and Rogue playing today is awesome. But we finally have the game heating up a little bit. It's just been mostly poking and prodding. We did have Roach Ravager for Rogue as the choice on this map. Cure going for a 2-base push, actually. Doesn't bother with a third command center.
Yeah, we've talked about this though, like the strength of 2-base timings has been really great. And with the gold-based economy, you're going to have so many more Marines. You can have those extra 2 barracks down so much sooner. So Stim timing is done. He's got tanks and medevacs. He's been picking off a lot of overlords with that Viking. 2 and an overseer is not too bad. But there are Ravagers. There is an adequate defense out of Rogue. In a perfect world, he holds this, but Cure is going to be hard to stop.
Yeah. He does get pushed back, maybe because he wasn't expecting so much Roach Ravager. I'm pretty sure he saw that it was going to be Roaches. That's not the surprise.
I'm surprised he didn't just like dive for the high ground there. There's no overlords, no overseers. He could have actually just dropped the tanks here and had no opposition.
Yeah, didn't think about it. Just was thinking about, I gotta get up. And he does. So he's going to take a deep breath and go again, because he is on 2 bases. He has to make this push work to some degree, whether it's killing an army or killing a base. Something has to give here for him to even try and macro out of it if he even tries.
Yeah, if he can do enough damage, it doesn't matter that his upgrade's stalled out on +1 and he doesn't have a lot more behind it. You can throw down that 3rd CC if you do enough damage, but do enough damage is the question. Nice catch out of Rogue. He'll find the reinforcements, pick off a tank and several Marines. Combat Shields is only just barely finishing, and maybe that's just what he was waiting for. Maybe that's the timing he really wants to hit. But beautiful tank shots, just right off the bat, just shelling away at about half those Ravagers. Even if the tanks go down, they may have already done the job. I don't know. Lots of Roaches coming in from the side. Because they were dancing with the tanks, the medevacs were not healing the Marines, and this attack ends up flopping.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the give and take of that tank positioning, and it looks like Cure is giving a game to Rogue in this game. Down by 30 army supply, still trying to get an upgrade, still trying to get another army, but Rogue did not take any economic damage. He's on a low drone count, but he's also on 2 gold bases, so that's fine. His army is, yes, inflated because it's Roaches, but I just can't see Cure finding a good enough position with such a small army himself to really find a way to get back into this game.
Yeah, it's worse because there is a bit of a clock for both players. With these being gold bases, they're mining out pretty damn quick. If Cure had the potential to outlast, take that 3rd base eventually, then yeah, maybe he gets back into this. But as it stands, he's mined out of that gold pretty quickly, and Mule's going to make sure his main mines out quickly as well. So he's going to have no mining at a certain point.
Yeah. These tank chops are fancy, and, they can do a lot of damage appropriately controlled, but there is an attack set up for Rogue on the fronts that Cure does not know about yet. He's all holed up in his natural, so Rogue could make a mistake by trying to push up a ramp.
He's actually killed a pretty significant amount of Roaches and Queens with this, but you're right, will the bio hold? If the bio holds,
I think it can.
Those tanks did enough damage on the counterattack.
I just said that Rogue might make a mistake by going up a ramp. I thought there might be siege tank siege. There weren't, but there was just a big enough bio army. He loses a good chunk of Roaches on this attack, a good chunk of Roaches on his own attack, and now Cure is a lot more even on the army supply. That was going to 30, 40 army supply difference. I thought it was going to get so extreme if Rogue just maxed out. And Cure now has a chance. He can lift his main, which is what he's doing, to his 3rd. He can then lift his natural, because that's also going to mine out soon, to his 4th.
Yeah.
It's going to look silly.
Natural in the goal, or normal in the goal, normal in the goal. Just keep that rotation going.
Yeah, it's going to look so silly, but it can technically work.
Well, in doing this, though, he's going to temporarily give up all gas income, which is actually a problem, as he still needs more medevacs and tanks.
Good point. A lot of Terrans, of course, just figure that 4 or 6 gases and you don't have to really worry about gas, even going for tanks and medevacs and liberators. But as you transfer those command centers, you're at that point where you're like, gas? What's that? I'm Terran. I don't understand.
Yeah, actually, there's been a few, not often, but there's been a few games where we've seen people lose out because they couldn't build medevacs late on. They just didn't have the gas.
Yeah, or Marauders even.
Yeah, hopefully not going to get caught in that trap.
This isn't trap. This is rogue.
Okay, Rifkin, calm down.
So yeah, as we're talking about it, I've been, very dedicated to seeing, is he putting down gas geysers, and he's not. He's down to 18 gas, and he must realize now he does. He puts down 2 gas geysers. We'll need the other 2 as well to continue building tanks with his army. He also, I thought with the +1 armor going down, that was just he's never actually gonna be able to get there, because he looked like he was dying. But everything's okay now, and getting 2-2 is going to be very good, because he definitely wants to have the same upgrades as Rogue's Ravager army.
A big question is going to come into, though, what is his late game answer? Because right now, Cure, okay, tanks are kind of cool, and we've always talked about how they potentially can deal damage to Ultralisk, but oftentimes don't.
Sorry. Yeah, that is, I guess, the main problem, is that while, he's catching up on supply and he's catching up on upgrades, that's all well and good, it's not as easy to hit that timing before ultras are out that you've been pushed back so hard. But he's going to try. He's picking up all his tanks, his upgrades are finishing up. He has, another minute or 2 before ultras are ready to go. But first he has to take care of this engagement.
Ooh, those Crystal Battles were good. However, having launched them before the Fungal Growth Rod did not pair out well. Good damage done from Rogue nonetheless, but that could have been so much worse.
Yeah, it really could have. It told Cure to watch out for my infestors, where if he was prepared to go and he was like, okay, I have a timing to hit, he might have actually accidentally run into them and gotten even worse fungals. Now he's going to remember to, pre-split. That's a lot of creep to clean up, though, and he does want to clean it all up. Even though Speedlings and Banelings aren't really in play here, you just don't want to be going on a creep.
Oh, I love that he's got a bunker. It's unfortunately not repaired up and not getting repaired, though, so it is going to fall. That's kind of a cool attempt at a defense, get a planetary fortress, if you will. But this timing out of Cure is still good to push and hit. If he can take a good fight, this is before Ultras are out. This is before Kindness Bleeding even begins. Now, he loses some of the tanks, sure, but his Bioforce is still really big, and it's quite strong.
He also dealt with the run by a lot better than I thought he was going to, but oh god, he's all clones up. Okay, that was pretty damn good.
It's still good. The Corsair Files going down and things like Marines and Marauders is not that scary. It is when you get that fungal growth and it lands on the medevacs, that's where these Corsair Files get really good. But yeah, he had lost control of the gold base while this was going on too. Didn't get to look at it in the camera. So GG. Rogue will tie up the series now 1-1. Everyone in chat flipping out about the throw of that push up the natural. 3-minute delay, mother truckers. We can see how wrong you is.
It looks scary, man. He was pushing. He had a great army.
No, it did. It definitely did. But okay, this means we're going to go to game 3. Hold off the ad break. We will do a commercial break after this game, though. So if you guys are getting a little bit antsy, maybe you need to use the bathroom, whatever, that's a good time to sync up for it. What map do we have?
Orbital.
Perfect. I was like, oh, well, that's... Because, they showed what the new refurbished one would look like. I didn't think it was, that different, but I was kind of like, oh, well, this just kind of, again, sits with me on the whole Blizzard not making new maps, but they're still using really, really, really old maps.
I've heard.
Womp, womp. Anyways, folks, you're watching the Ting Open. Make sure to go to bttv.ting.com and check out Ting. Claim $25 in credit if you're a U.S. resident, and maybe consider swapping over. We talked about it a little bit earlier today, but I'm going to bring it up again now, because if we can get 40 people to test out, to try, to swap over full-time even, any of those options, whatever, if you've signed up for Ting through bttv.ting.com, if we can get 40 people in total, Ting's going to come back with another tournament. Come back with a Season 2, if you will. And as of last count, and this was 2 or 3 days ago, we were at 24 people signed up, which is fantastic. That's over halfway, and we're not done halfway in the tournament, so that's good. We're slightly ahead of our goal. But I'd love to be able to hit that 40 count, guys. I would love to do more work with Ting in the future. Spawning here in the bottom left side of Orbital Shipyard. So as I adjust the scores to reflect that it is tied up 1-1, it's the Blue Terran Cure.
In the top right, as the Red Zerg, he's Rogue. It's gone Rogue.
Alright, so I really want to say, I didn't like the 2-base build out of Cure. I liked the potential it had, and it did a little bit of damage, cool. But the power of it was lost so quickly because of the gold base. A build like that on maybe a map like Orbital I could see him trying to finagle, but That really just did not work out on Prion at all.
A map like Laralac, especially, which I don't remember if it's in the map pool.
Well, it's in the map pool. It's a question of whether it's in the map list.
Yeah, I meant.
Aha! Technicalities. Okay. Annoying.
So, Kira did go for Chirax opener, but not dedicating super hard into this. Rogue does go for the early Roach Warren. He does see it, after all, with his Overlord, just right there. But, probably could have dealt with it Queens and Lings, too.
The beauty in this lies not in the Roaches, though, or the Queens. It is just like, sometimes that one Ravager can just lock down any amount of Reapers.
Well, because it is Roaches, the Reapers will have a big job to do, making sure they don't run across the map, maybe with accompanied with Lings, but Rogue did skip Ling speed for the Roaches. So Cure, I think, realizes this. You know, he's going to still have decent production. He can put a bunker up if he's really scared of Rogue moving across the map, and that's just that's what you get when you go for Reaper openers. A lot of safety from almost everything. Maybe not a Nidus Worm. And Kira's going for 3cc.
Nidus Worms have been just such a... They've started to fall off, which is hilarious to me, because without buffing or nerfing anything directly related to a Nidus Worm, they went from everyone crying about them being super broken and overpowered to being seldom used nowadays. And I'm just saying, if people are concerned about tank drops...
People, like, we thought that they were going to be super overpowered because people were using them so damn well. Easy wins left and right, just instant tap outs, and then just not anymore. Rarely are they instant tap outs, even if they are used, and they only win some games, so balance. So good.
It's like the Patrick Stewart thing. Acting. Balance.
She get a gif of David Kim doing that.
Oh my god. David Kim, if you ever listen to our streams, be so mad at us. All we do is shit on Blizzard balance design all the time.
What are you talking about? This sounds hilarious. This isn't shitting on him. Like, get a like a... You know, the first half is him watching Nidus Worms instantly have the Terran tap out, and then the next slide is like him, you know, the Nidus Worm actually being defeated and the Zerg player tapping out, and he looks at the camera and he says, balance.
No, you know what that would be? What we'd do is we'd show a Terran player losing to a Nidus Worm, then show the tanks getting nerfed, and then David Kim going, balance.
See, that's just propaganda right there, right?
Propaganda.
You have a very clear goal with that.
Yeah, that's true. That's not... Well, I am a StarCraft 2 field reporter. I have to skew things and, you know, make them look a certain way.
Are you a Fox News field reporter?
Yeah. Well, there's the R next to my name, Rifkin, which I learned apparently that's what Republican. I'm American news, please.
You didn't know that.
Okay, so we got 1-1 finishing up pretty quickly here for Cure. There's actually not a lot of upgrades coming in from Rogue just yet, just the Carapace, which it seems so non-committal, but I guess this is a little bit better to have than weapon upgrades if you are going Roaches anyways. Of course, Marines just, you know, attack really fast, don't do a lot of damage. Reaper's gonna get a scout in the main, sees the lair finish. It's kind of nice, but not really anything behind it. But he did see how many Roaches were out, so I doubt he's gonna be worried about mutas. If he was, then he really misread the situation.
Yeah, for sure. So no need for those missile turrets.
Oh, these Reapers... Oh, no. If they were actually meeting the Roaches in the middle of the map, they could buy a lot of time and do a fair amount of damage.
Oh, there you go.
There's no speed on these links. This is just Roaches.
No. It looks very silly. So there's not going to be very many quick reinforcements for this push. And the Reaper at least saw the Roaches.
Yo, even with 8 Ravagers coming in, as long as this tank is microed well with a medevac, I don't think it's going to go too poorly. But we don't see any medevacs. This reactor's only just finishing up, so it's a little bit worrisome. In fact, that tank is just a target for Corsair Vials. Ouch.
Yeah, he does get it, and the tank only got one decent shot off, so that did end up going better for Rogue, even though it looked like he was a little too eager. And this is just going to lead into more macro behind, so more drones, another evolution chamber. He actually upgraded Carapace first, so getting that +2 Carapace.
Oh, that's stall on the kill.
Yeah.
This guarantees he's going to finish it with the Corsair Vials. That's actually such a sick tech slave. Comet shields would be huge for this.
That was pretty cool. And luckily, Combat Shields is not the slowest upgrade in the game, so as soon as you get the tech lab back on, you should have it momentarily. But it's, that was a nice bit of pressure from Rogue. Well, he's gonna attack even without Combat Shields.
You say it's nice pressure. I actually say that's some pretty considerable damage. Like, shutting down Combat Shields is huge. These tanks are just not gonna take free shots, I guess.
Oh, yeah. There they go. Well, he has still a pretty nice army without Combat Shields. It's just, it really does suck. This is supposed to have Combat Shields and 1-1. He will have an upgrade lead, because the +2 carapace is only just on the way, and he will find one of these abusive spots on Orbital Shipyard.
Now, this does hit a nice timing. Like, we're not going to have infestors in the fight, so fungal growths aren't a problem, but the army supply out of Cure is just low in general. Taking on this fight is going to be difficult no matter how he does it. It's not looking like it's going too well. Even with Rogue just kind of move commanding a lot of the Roaches and Ravagers in range quickly, is focus fired down. This reinforcement is... That's not a lot of reinforcements.
So he does have to be careful, yeah, about pushing forward too much, though. As the tanks were going to be on boost, and they could have gotten some free shots. We're finally getting a metabolic boost, and pathogen glands finishing up and get some infestors. Cure is not looking so hot because of that push, because losing Combat Shields, but he's on 3 bases, and Terrans can certainly bring themselves back into a game through a couple of decent drops, or tank abuse. Tank abuse. No. He's actually not building any more tanks, which have been a little odd. There we go. There's the tank. Not even bothering to bring his army forward. Just wants to get as much free damage as possible with his tanks.
Yeah, I mean, he got away with a lot last game, if you're gonna be honest. Like, his tanks did work on the Roaches and a couple of the Ravagers around that third, but unfortunately it's not working to the same degree. And with this potential fungal growth out, he's got to be so careful not to give these away. Losing some bio sucks, but it's easy to replace. Tanks, not the case. He is going for second factory to help make up for this production.
Yeah, but it's a little... It's like, if you had everything going absolutely perfectly, it's a little late, so that's...
Yeah, it feels like Cure's really playing to the mid-game, whereas Rogue is looking towards the late game as he gets Hive Tech out. Nice fungal growth. Corsair Gear's going to come down on most of this army. Takes out the Medivacs and just pushes through and dominates Cure's army. Oh, God.
Yeah. Saves 1 tank and that's it. Has some reinforcements. His army supply is only down by 20, but yeah, Roach Ravager with upgrades and the Infestor looking a little bit scarier here.
Well, a big part of this too is like, well, he did lose some of the army, Rogue that is, and that kind of sucks. It is still moving that next step. Like, he is getting Hive Tech, and frankly, Cure, if this game goes to Ultralisk in any capacity, I don't think Cure's going to be ready for it.
Well, he does want to stop him from getting to Hive too easily. That's why he's keeping up this pressure, even though it always looks like he's never going to win the fights. He's got to at least have Rogue using his gas and money on something other than Ultralisk. He pulls back the bio. Just continues to attack with the tanks. Which he was doing in TVT and obviously in this TVC.
I like this move because it is... Like, okay, you get caught with the fungal, you don't lose all the bio with it, you just lose the tanks, which still admittedly would suck, but not the end of the world. Oh, curtain of corrosive miles.
Well, there's that Ultralisk Cavern. Timer's really on now for Cure, who doesn't have a bad army. Again, like, despite taking all the bad engagements, he's on 3 bases.
Yeah, if he heads out soon,
oh no,
well, that's bad. I was gonna say though, if he heads out soon, at least he has the opportunity to try and fight. But with this being so marine heavy and Marauders only just getting started 4 at a time, it was 1 Marauder at a time prior to this. With this being 4 Marauders at a time, even this is still not gonna be something that will deal with Ultras very well.
He does need to push out now. He wants to hit that.
Okay, so not only is Rogue getting away with these extra bases, he's turned into a macro hatchery. I am so in the Rogue camp for this game. I mean, respect to Cure, his army supply is even, but it's not going to be as effective. And chitinous plating, it's going to be really hard to catch that army fight where there's no chitinous plating.
Yeah.
And if he's going to play defensive, I think it's even worse because then Rogue just continues to expand and take over the entire map. I mean, the creep spread isn't that notable yet, but it is the fact that he's got a base actually on location up here.
if he's going to play defensive, he needs a 4th base. He needs to get his Liberators or Ghosts or whatever he wants to deal with those Ultras in the late game. You can try to play just straight to the late game. You can try and get some mass air like Gumiho did, but you have to prepare for it, and it looks like Cure is more preparing to try and hit when 3-3 is done, which unfortunately means that plating will be done.
I've still got silly goosebumps left over from that Gumiho game. Like, that was amazing.
That was pretty good. His tank count's not bad. He did have that double tank production after a while. So at 7, especially on like a ridge or something, they could take down a couple of tanks or a couple of Ultralisks before they go down. But all of the upgrades are finishing up for Rogue. He looks so set in this game. Now Cure throws down an extra command center and a Ghost Academy, but I feel like it might be too late, especially if he takes a fight right now with this army. He's just going to, well, he's probably going to lose it hard, but I do like how he set up this 4th. You know, it sucks that it has to be an orbital. It's his main. This is also annoying to deal with, but he has his tanks on the ramp. Oh, he had them on the ramp.
Actually takes out the Ultras on the front line, but the problem is all those corrosive biles rain in from above. Take out some of those tanks, pushing back into this. Okay, Cure might lose his production back at home, but if he can win with this attack, then it won't matter. Oh, but hold up, 7 more Ultras.
He took such a great defensive engagement because he had his tanks mostly on the ramp, you know? Like, with just enough space that the bio could chase behind and get behind the tanks, but the Ultra is still getting funneled in. So, defensively, this is beautiful. Can he actually push out and take the 5th or the 4th from Rogue? I don't know about that, especially, as you said, with the 7 more Ultras. You know, siege tank hopping is actually not going to work out that well. They cannot be surrounded. They're gonna suck versus the Ultras.
Yeah. The Ghost Academy went down, but without that, there's just no way. There's no easy way to deal with it. This attack, Lings is going to catch him off guard once again. Cure is surprisingly spread out through this too. Like, I'm really surprised Rogue's not trying to press this issue. But waiting for the Banelings might be just what he's waiting for. Speed's not done for them. He's going to come with the Ultras. Fungal Growths catch this army. Kaiser Blades splashing everything they can to the tanks. Now, they did good that first round. They're not doing too bad this round, but there's just so many more Ultras to deal with.
Yeah, those tanks were all spread out, so they're not going to abuse this choke right here. He's target firing the Ultras really well. He target fired the 2 ones that got low. There's 2 more that are now low too. Once again, cleaning up the Ling attack, and Cure is doing a surprisingly good job dealing with what should have killed other Terrans.
Well, the counterattack from those Lings still did some pretty good damage, disrupting a lot of the reactors, but if you had taken out those tech labs, there would actually be nothing rebuilt to deal with Ultras. Nothing that comes out on reactors is going to do too well.
Well, Rogue's been continuing to upgrade as he wasn't as perfect upgrades. Still isn't. Is still going to upgrade his missile because the Ravage is still in play. He took another base off to the right, so there's been absolutely no contention. There's like barely any units over there, so that should get away for a long time.
Comes in once again with the Lings from the side. Cure, of course, can't react to this because he's so busy microing in the middle of the map. Is that a planetary? No, it's just a regular command center. He just lifted it, but it's probably still going to burn down. I don't know if we'll get an SCV on there in time.
No, he will not. The Marauders do not do well against these. These are cracklings, by the way. They're about to be fully upgraded.
Yeah, Adrenalines.
Cracklings. There
Yeah,
goes the planetary. What would have been a planetary.
This position going to get attacked once again. This is not a planetary. This is just an orbital with a lot of very vulnerable, very important SCVs. In fact, half of his overall SCV count is here on this front line.
Spread? Oh, spread's not going to work against Ultras. You had to spread for the Fungals, but you don't want to spread against the Ultras.
Yo, funny, if the whole army was here, I actually think he could have dealt with this. Unfortunately, the command center is getting focused. A lot of SCVs just getting chewed on in that mineral line. And Rogue, well, he doesn't have a ton of money. It's because he just remaxed or tried to once again, and that's 70 supply lead for him. It's not just that it's an army lead, it's an overall supply lead. 70 drones as Cure's down to about 39 SCVs.
30 workers, 30 army, just about. A lot more Banelings on the way, which I think is a very smart move. The Ultras, they're great, they're fine, they're fantastic, but Lings and Banelings, believe it or not, just bring it back down to basics will also clear this up, because they're going to be fully upgraded. Quite scary.
Liberator getting some shots off when normally it wouldn't, but with those Fungal Growths locking down even more medevacs, which Cure cannot afford to replace at this point. I do believe this will be the tap out. GG. Rogue takes a lead now in the series 2-1. So congratulations to him. Now, of course, the series is still far from over. Well, I shouldn't say far from over. Rogue, if he wins one more, he'll take it down. We're going to go to a small commercial break, though, so do stick around, guys. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Going to keep it short, going to keep it sweet, and get into game number 4 ASAP. Game number 4 ASAP. Game number 4. So, one thing I'm kind of noticing on the stream delay as we rewatch the end of that game, and I know it was brought up during game 2, I think it was. But Kira's not been doing a lot of really great walling off. And even Scarlett mentioning it in the chat here. Kind of disconcerting, I guess.
It's, those basic Terran tools. You're not going to use them.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously... that affected the run-bys in that last game in particular, but it's not affecting his army fights or his builds. And just in general, Rogue's looking to have better and better games the later this goes. And I'm not even just because #Ultralisks, but constant map control, the fact that Kira seems really intent on using these tanks. Either way, just getting to these intros, I guess. In the bottom right side, he is on his last life here in the winner's match. It's Jennair's Cure.
In the bottom left, as the yellow Zerg, is Jennair's Rogue.
Okay, so to comment on the situation, again, for anyone who might just be tuning in or haven't been following since the start of the day, this is the winner's bracket match. So the winner of this gets out of the tournament, out of the group to further themselves in the tournament, and they're safe. They will have to play no more matches today. They will be good and done. The loser of this, however, will have to play the final match in the final best of 5 today against Gumiho. So if that's going to be a rematch of Cure and Gumiho, that'll be particularly interesting because there is this particular curse that comes with brackets. But on the other hand, Rogue, who's up 2-1 right now, while I'm not going to count Cure out just yet, I would be really interested to see what Cure versus Gumiho looks like.
Yeah, that's the point I was going to bring up, and just that Cure hopes to not lose this so he won't have to potentially lose the losers, the decider rather, to that curse mostly. As Gumiho lost initially 0-3, but then went on to look better and better against Soulkey to eventually take that ace match. I would consider that to be a him all warmed up and ready to go if Cure does lose in this game. But Lerlac Crests in these positions, especially horizontal, is just like, I feel like, the greatest additions for this map. For the 2-base Terran versus the 3-base Roach Ravager Zerg that's just barely trying to hold on. Like, they both attack each other, they both want to attack each other, and then they both realize that they're attacking each other, and then you just have to kind of continue attacking each other. That was really weird.
Yeah.
That was animation. It looked like they were dancing. Anyways, so I'm very excited to see how this game goes out. I mean, sometimes we see Terrans not lose their Reaper. What is he,
First
bronze?
blood.
Whoa!
Samriga, what are you, Twitch chat? Calm the hell down, Jesus.
Terrans go for a 3rd CC, very, greedy game on this map. It just doesn't seem ideal. Simple enough.
Overlord speed once again. I like that Rogue's been doing this. We haven't actually seen any drops out of him, but just the mobility this provides is really nice. And it's not too expensive an investment, I suppose, but it will keep your Overlords alive from things like roaming Marines and, of course, the Viking or two.
It is going to be that very quick 3rd CC. Not the quickest, as it is after the starports, but still, not going for a 2-base push.
Also gets scouted immediately.
Yeah. I really wonder about that. So for once, it's like non-standard game in these positions. Usually it's one goes Roach Ravager, other one goes 2-base tank push. But instead of either one doing either one of those, one's going for 3CC, and the other one's going for, I think, Quick Spire, which is not what I expected either from the Zerg. And I think you go into Roaches afterwards. It's a short distance to defend with Needling and Bling, but who knows? Only they do.
Tune in next week and find out more. The Banshee, though, I am wondering what he'll get done with this, because we actually haven't seen much out of Cure other than those. Again, everything's been focused so much on trying to get tank drops to work, and Banshee is a tried, tested, and true old school good unit that does work and does get damage a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's like the one map that I think tank drops would be the greatest.
Yeah, I agree with you on this one. The way you can abuse terrain on this one especially, but Cure not having done it. Now what's nice is there is going to be a Nidus Worm, and this is so good because Rogue scouted that third CC. Who knew exactly what to do.
That's a really great point. Like, with the Roach Worm not coming down until the lair was finished, I was definitely not expecting the Nidus Worm. But it is a great point. Like, to see a third CC, they don't have a lot of production. If it was siege tank drops, that would another good deal. But it's not. It's Banshees, and they can be countered by the Queens that come along in the Nidus.
Right, and what's going to be sick is if he turns the Scouting Overlord here into an Overseer, that doesn't look suspicious right away. So you're not going to overreact to it, but it's also going to be detection for said Cloaked Banshees. Now, he's got to know Cloaks on this, so without any Overseers, this does seem a little bit crazy to me, but Cure is completely out of position for this initially. There's the Overseer coming in. But even with this, and with the SCV pull, units should come out of this.
There's the Queens, transfuse, transfuse, transfuse. There it is. More transfuses. Of course, they want to have transfuses for themselves as well. The Nidus Worm does go down.
But he's actually been focusing on the Banshee, so the first one gets picked off. Second Nidus Worm comes down. Roach is just kind of going rampant, and Cure might just be on his way out of the winner's match at this rate. He could. Oh, if he picks off Stim. Oh, if he picks off Stim, that's going to be devastating.
Yeah. Well, he might not even need Stim. I mean, he's on top of production, so he's going to be picking off all the units that would use Stim.
That's true. That's very true. Nidus Worm gets out a few more Roaches to help you on the front lines. And even if that tank were to have set up, and it doesn't, it's dead. Yeah, it doesn't matter. GG, Rogue.
GG. Oh, shit.
Oh, it's the rematch, guys. It's the TVT rematch coming up next with Gumiho versus